Welcome everyone to another Conversations in the Void. I am Graybeard, joined as always with my Austrian producer Salem. Make sure to say hi to Salem in the chat. He likes to hear from you, and he's just there waiting, watching, anticipating everything we do. So I have a great pleasure introducing our two guests that we have coming on tonight. I was able to meet this director at the Days of Dead Con a couple weeks ago in Chicago. So please give up for Anthony Cousins, writer, director, producer, and frog enthusiast, and founder of Shock Treatment Productions, along with his co-writer of Frogman, John Karsko. How you guys doing tonight?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Good. I see you already have your frog there, huh? In your hands?
Oh, my creature.
Oh, that's your creature.
Yeah. Fresh in the mail from Mondo. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
There you go.
All over the place here.
All right, so let's get into this, right? You know, I like to do breaking the ice questions, stuff like that. So, what movie brought both of you really into the filmmaking and writing worlds? Do you recall?
Like that we met on, or the individual,
is there like a movie that you go, hey, I want to write movies or make movies or direct movies or anything like that?
Yeah, for me, it was Speed, 1994. Can't remember. I saw that in the theater. I think that was our first R-rated movie I saw in the theater. And I remember Roger Ebert had some quote like, you'll pay for the whole seat, but you only need the edge. And I don't know if it was specifically for Speed, but it was like that got used again. I was like, oh man, I understand what he means now. And seeing that movie, I was like, I got to do this. I didn't know how then or anything, but it was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What about you, Anthony?
I think in like 8th grade, I think I was introduced to both Clerks and The Evil Dead.
Nice.
Like at the same time. And those were the two movies, like while watching them, I realized, oh, movies don't have to be made by like Hollywood and studios. Like not really knowing how movies were made, I was like, this was just made by a couple of friends.
Right.
And that's what made me realize like maybe I could also do this.
Oh, for sure. I love it too. We met at the Days of the Dead Con, talking about, I think I showed you my half sleeve of Evil Dead or my tattoos. So yeah, I love Evil Dead, love Clerks. Those are fantastic movies, and Speed as well. As Simpson said, the bus that couldn't slow down.
If we need to go horror, I would say Halloween,
original
Halloween
film,
or the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Both those movies I saw. Can we swear on this? Sorry, I didn't know.
Absolutely. We're not monetized by any stretch of the imagination. So
yeah. Between the original Halloween and the original Texas Chainsaw, we're both like, wow. And speaking of what you were like about. These didn't feel like Hollywood movies.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw feels like a documentary.
Yeah.
When you watch it for the first time, it's just like, it's so nasty.
Oh, for sure. I completely agree. We, my co-host and I were lucky enough to meet John Dugan, the original grandpa from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a couple of years ago. And it's interesting to hearing what they did in 1972, and then been able to talk to people like you guys and other directors that this mentality in the field is the same from indie horror now as it was 50 years ago. It's just the small family, close knit community, and just you did what you had to do to make the movie work.
Yeah.
And that movie holds up spectacularly. Like it's even maybe more scary now.
I think there's things about Frogman that like are really rough around the edges for us. That we're worried about, I mean, we both had the feeling of like, oh my God, is anyone going to care about this movie when it comes out? Like, do we make something like so down and dirty that it's like not even like palatable for anyone?
Yeah.
And it's like, those are the things that people are really loving about it. And it's kind of, it's interesting now that we're talking about and realizing for the first time, that's the stuff that we love about, not to compare ourselves to Texas Chainsaw, like not trying to do that at all. But those are the things that we love about those movies is how handmade they feel.
Yeah.
And you can tell like, oh, there was this camaraderie around it, and like no one was on this movie to get a paycheck. Like people came around this project for love,
Right. That's why I really love indie horror. You know, as much as I love Blumhouse and A24, those are big production stuff, but it doesn't feel the same as you guys were saying, you know?
Yeah. Like we're in the mud making, you know,
literally
in the mud, making Frogman.
Yeah.
You like feel that in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, you know, love went into it.
Right. Yeah, it definitely shows for sure. Now, with being, you know, horror, you know, aficionados and horror movies makers, right? What do you consider to be the most overrated horror in your guys' thoughts? That just like how is this $1 billion franchise?
Are you trying to get us in, are you trying to get us in trouble or something?
How do we answer this politically?
We say here on our channel, we say The Exorcist. That's like very overrated
as a franchise.
Yeah,
interesting. I mean, yeah, that is a movie that stands on the singular merits of one movie,
right?
Although three, you know, I think 2 they tried to capture the magic of 1 and failed miserably, and then 3 was like, "Fuck it, we're gonna just do whatever we want," and we kind of ended up with a secondary masterpiece in some ways.
Right.
And I do think 2 is so bonkers, like you just need to watch it, and it's not good.
No.
But like, by the time you get these locusts, it's like, holy crap, what is happening?
Right.
So, which I kind of enjoy. I like that quality sometimes in some of these movies, these sequels.
But what's your overrated horror movie or IP or franchise or comic? Whatever. Pick your poison.
Okay, I think I've got one.
All right.
This is a weird answer, but okay. I love the Brendan Fraser Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the best adventure movies of all time. The original Mummy, I love as part of the Universal echelon. Against those other Universal movies, it's a fucking snooze fest. And I think it's hilarious that every time Universal is like, let's make the monsters happen again, they start with the Mummy. Like, it's such a weird, like, such a weird place to start with, like, hey, let's resurrect the monsters with the least interesting monster. Like, the hardest one to bring. Like, why are you not starting with Frankenstein or Dracula?
Yeah.
Right, for sure. I mean, they tried with Dracula Untold and I, Frankenstein, but those failed too.
Right. And then, like, you know, the Tom Cruise Mummy was supposed to kick off this dark universe, which the idea around it, I still really wish would have gotten a little further to just see what that would have been. And there's things about that movie I really love, but it's also like, this was where you thought we should start. Like, this was gonna be your Iron Man.
It's weird. I was actually just thinking about the Dark Universe like a week ago, and just the hubris of that photo.
Oh yeah, oh my god, that photo
with it's like Cruise and Depp, and I think
Angelina Jolie,
Javier Bardem was going to be Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah,
it's like I can't believe like this. They really like thought this was going to be a huge thing.
That's a great word for it. The hubris. Like,
yeah,
that is the ultimate. I can't think of anything that sums up putting the cart before the horse more than that photo. Like, here's a photo of everyone we've gotten involved in this project that's never going to see the light of day, like in Variety Mag.
For sure. But John, do you have an overrated horror, you think?
I don't like. I hesitate to say it's overrated, but I do think like if there was never another Halloween, that's not. Even though I really like 3 and I like 4 a decent amount. If it just ends and Michael's just gone, and you never see it again, like that would be pretty awesome.
He's just gone in the wood chipper.
You just know he's out. He can't be killed. And I didn't love the new Blumhouse ones.
No.
So I'm gonna say the original Halloween. That should have been maybe where the story ended. And maybe you do like what 3 is, like a spin-off. These other stories. But yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
I mean, I think it's like that first one is so unbelievably simple of an idea. Like maybe the most simple idea ever.
Yeah.
And like that's where it keeps failing. It's like when you try to build upon that, there's nothing to build upon. Like it's made of sticks.
Yeah.
Like the more you try to build upon it, it crumbles beneath
Right.
like whatever you're trying to do.
Especially trying to like explain Michael and his origins and everything. It's like it's much scary because I know Zombie got into that. In his ones of seeing, like the trauma that he went through as a kid. But it's like to me, it's scarier that you don't know.
Right.
He's just evil.
Yeah, just pure evil. And
Yeah.
But we did get Paul Rudd out of it. So I mean, yeah.
We did. And was it Daniel Harris who plays?
Oh yeah,
she's fantastic in 4 and 5.
There's some diamonds in the rough.
Like
yeah.
For
sure.
But I'm gonna say yeah.
Now on the flip on the flip side, what's the most underrated horror that you think you watch and go, holy shit, why are not more people talking about this?
Ooh.
Like if someone goes, hey, suggest a horror movie to me that I've never seen, what's your go-to answer for that?
Man, this is one of those questions where I'm like, I have this answer all the time, and now I want to go look at my bookshelf.
Franchise-wise, I think like I love the Child's Play series.
I
think you do too. It's like Child's Play 2 is on my sequel Mount Rushmore.
Dude, that third act,
the third act in the factory is
they just saw the Terminator and like, let's do that with a doll.
It's amazing. And the third one at the military school is great. It has its moments. It's like there's in just Brad Dourif as Chucky is just endlessly. He's always
and
I haven't seen the show, but apparently I heard it's really good.
The show's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most like versatile franchise of them all, which is, it's crazy because I feel like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, like Halloween, all of them have more legs to stand on than Chucky. And yet Chucky, I think it all goes to Don Mancini for like being with it from beginning to present, like having a singular vision that loves that franchise so much. But like it's so versatile. Like it just keeps reinventing itself in incredible ways that you never expected to. And those are my favorite kind of sequels, like you can get incredibly far in horror by remaking the same movie over and over again. and he refuses to do that. He's like, no, fuck that. I already made that movie. Now we're going to try to do like a comedy movie, and now we're going to try and do a John Waters movie. And like, it's insane. It's so fascinating.
Oh yeah. So what's yours, Anthony, then?
Man, I'm blanking so hard right now. Okay, I'm gonna go. It's not a small movie by any means, but I think you know what? Anaconda needs more genuine appreciation. People will shit talk that movie and then talk about how they love it. No, you love it because it's a good movie. Really good movie. And it's aged so well. Like, I don't know. I think at the time that movie came out, it was just like baffling. And then it turned into so bad it's good. And then you watch it now and you're like, they knew exactly what they were doing. Yeah. And they like it's such a fun monster movie.
Rips.
Yeah. I heard they're remaking it.
Yeah, apparently they are. I don't know, man. You better have a practical snake, or I don't know what we're doing. I'm ready for anything. I think the perfect remake of any movie could exist. It's just you got to find the right person at the right time to do it. Like there is a good Halloween movie to still be made. Yes. It's just you got to find the right person at the right time that has like a new idea.
Right. For sure.
So
all right. Let's get into the meat and potatoes though. We have to discuss Frogman here. So how did Frogman come to be? I know, obviously the Loveland, cryptid versus there, but why'd you pick Frogman of all cryptids?
Well, we were doing a short that I was directing and Anthony was shooting, and it was like took place in a radio station, and it was like a coast to coast with Art Bell sort of show in the story. And for a set design, like I found this map that had all the cryptids in the U.S.
Mm.
We had that like on a TV, and I remember we were just shooting. We were looking at that map, and someone was like, "What the hell is Frogman?" and then we looked it up, and it was like, "Oh, Frogman's this thing in Loveland, Ohio." And then we started making, kind of joking, like, "Oh, we should make a Frogman movie. Like that would be awesome." And then it was like, actually, that would be really awesome. We should do that. And Nathan, who's the star of the movie, plays Dallas.
Yeah.
He was there in the short, and we're like, it's got to be Nate, like looking for Frogman, because he's got a really entertaining Instagram. Like, can you imagine if he's doing his bits while he's trying to find Frogman? It just kind of spun out of that, and that was in like 2017. I want to say,
yeah, 2017,
like
2018,
winter of 2017.
Yeah.
And then it was like, no, we should really do this.
Yeah. It's really hard to remember at what moment you become serious about these insane ideas.
Yeah.
But during COVID is when it got really serious.
Yeah, COVID it was like, we're gonna do this. We wrote the script during COVID, and it was like, all right, this is happening.
Yeah, because that was at a time when it was like, we don't know when any of us are going to be able to make a movie the proper way again.
Right.
We could do it, if we do it safely, we could all do it, under the radar, like, really minimal skeleton crew. And then by the time we actually made it, most of those restrictions were actually lifted.
Yeah.
So then it was super easy. But that at least got us kicked off. It's like, what could we do right now with nothing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you guys film in Loveland or parts of it?
No, it's all in Minnesota.
It's all in Minnesota.
Yeah. The town exteriors was Stillwater, Minnesota, and then we filmed in like Big Lake for the Woods, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
There was some stuff in Jordan, the caves.
Mm-hmm. Some stuff here in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But Anthony went to the Frogman Festival in Loveland this year.
And did you bring the movie?
Yeah, they invited us, which was, kind of scary. we made, like, I looked into it before we made the movie, and I really wanted to get out to Loveland before we shot, to do my due diligence, and scheduling wise, I just couldn't make it happen. And then, like, looking into it, it was like the town doesn't embrace the Frogman legend at all. I talked to people from Loveland that had no idea what I was even talking about. I mentioned Frogman, so I was like, okay, there's not going to be anyone fact checking us or like, So I was like, I think we can just do whatever we want. And then they invited us, and I was like, oh shit. There is a sector of Loveland that does care about this, but thankfully they really enjoyed it. So yeah,
that's pretty cool. Because I was just wondering, because with Josh Bruckner, who I'm sure you know the name, he did Mothman, he filmed and went to the Point Pleasant and all that stuff too. I was just wondering if there's any support behind the town of making a Frogman, but doesn't really initially sound like it.
Not at first. I mean, it's incredible. Like that would have been amazing to have on the first one. It just wasn't there yet. Like this Frogman festival that we brought the movie to this year, it didn't even happen until after we had shot the movie, that the first festival was like took place. So it was after that they were like, oh, there are fans out there for Frogman. And they have embraced it, and like, we're talking with Loveland and like doing more screenings there hopefully soon. So like, I mean, there's a real potential to maybe shoot some footage there for the next one. I would love to, because after visiting it, like, it's such a unique town, and I think we did it justice here in Minnesota as best we could, Midwest, like to some extent. But it is a really unique town. It's got these crazy windy roads where, like, when you're driving around them at night, you're like, Frogman's popping out any second now. So, like, it would be really fun to go there for even a couple days and get some exteriors.
Oh, for sure. You talk about fact checking, stuff like that. Did you feel like you had to interweave the lore of Frogman that already exists into the framework of the movie? Because, the sightings didn't happen in 1999, let's say, right?
Right.
Well, we definitely talked. I feel like there was a version where maybe we opened in the 50s or the 70s with like one of the actual sightings. But it just was we just couldn't make it fit. And then, you know, the powers, we sort of like the Frogman can read minds thing was in there from the start, but the wand came later, and that was all Anthony, which ended up being kind of one of the best things in the movie. So we didn't feel like beholden to like, oh, we got to be accurate about the sightings and all of that.
Yeah. Although, I mean, we took it into account a little bit. Like we tried to give like George, you know, a little bit of that. Well, here's the guy that maybe saw it for the first time, which I think
because the old timer,
the old timer. Although like the first sighting I think was in like 1955 or something like that. But even, you know, talking about the sequel now, we're still like looking into, okay, what are the real firsthand accounts of this thing, and how can we like work a little bit of that in. I mean, obviously we've gone way beyond like any sentimentality, but like, I mean, that's the beauty of Frogman, is like it's a fucking cryptid that was seen with a wand. So I mean, it begs, you know, whoever bestows upon themselves the burden of telling its story, like let's get wild with it. Why does he have a wand? What does he do with the wand? Like that's kind of why we went batshit crazy, you know, like we weren't gonna give Bigfoot a wand, but you know, Frogman already has one, so
Like, you're saying Tahoe Joe 3 will not have a wand?
I think he should. I think he should, and I want to see like a all out like Deathly Hollows. You know, let's go.
Let me talk to Dylan. Let's see if we can get that going.
Yeah,
for sure. That's awesome though. So I mean, for you guys, I mean, you're shooting in the cave, stuff like that. What was the hardest scene to film in all of Frogman?
Well, there's the birth scene was a challenge, I think, just because of like we were in this cave and we had Allie, who plays the girl, you know, she's in just basically a t-shirt. And it was like, that was in January, I think we shot that.
Oh, wow.
So it was cold, and you know, we were just like, okay, let's try to get through this as quick as we can. So that was a, you know, challenging scene.
I mean, honestly, I think like all the scenes where the camera is running for more than like a couple minutes, which there's a couple of them, and there's a couple of those types of scenes that we even cut from the final product, and like those scenes were really tough because like we just kept trying to get the runtime down, because like you get to the end of a scene and you look at what you shot and it's like, okay, that's 6 minutes. That's 6 minutes of the movie. Like there's no way to cut around that.
Right.
Single
like you're
angle.
locked into that.
Yeah. So those were interesting, but you know, those were also like, those are the most challenging, but they were also the most fun to shoot because our actors were like so talented, and to like just watch them have the room to just go back and forth with each other, and like those are the scenes we did the most takes of, because we kept trying to like, okay, tighten it up. Like this is all great, but we cannot spend 10 minutes on this scene. Like, you know, we got to get this down to like 6. And so to get to watch them over and over, like refine what they were doing was like really awesome.
Now, was the kind of all script written out, or did they have more room for improv? How'd that work out?
Yeah, we had a full script, but definitely lots of room for improv. And the script changed as we shot. Like the original version is different than what the movie is, and we, you know, made some tough decisions to reshoot some of the movie and rewrite some of it when we realized it wasn't totally working the way we had thought, like on the page. And so, you know, that was also a challenge of just like figuring that out. But definitely lots of room for improv.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you know, if she was written to have her accent when she dressed in the cowgirl outfit.
Yeah, that was in the script. But like there's a scene like where they go like talk to the ice cream girl, And that was completely like she just worked at that store. They just had the camera, making ice cream. Like the frog rat thing was just completely on the spot, like random. She just came up with did that, you know?
She just really has that theory.
Yeah.
So are you a frog or a rat? Is really the question.
You're a rat. I'm a frog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty accurate. No notes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And like I said, I think the special effects were great. I think, while he's getting the, bumps all over his skin, that looked fantastic. Would that take long to get put on?
Like the Scotty transformation? Is that
Yeah.
what you're talking about? Yeah. Man, how long was that? I'm not even gonna say because I know that our practical effects people, they want accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want, like, if it took an hour and you say 2 hours, they're gonna be like, that did not take me 2 hours. Oh no, we were in that cave shooting.
While they were putting the makeup.
What I always try to do is like I just tell them, okay, we're gonna shoot for like the next 3 hours. Is that enough time for you to do what you got to do? And they're like, yeah, we'll have it ready. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like they'll, so they got it done in the time they were supposed to.
Yeah,
that's
look fantastic.
Oh yeah, and like I said, and I don't want to spoil too much, but as you're talking about the birthing scene and what she came out of, looked great.
Yeah, that was our production designer Jason made those. Was it like an exercise ball?
It was like an exercise ball specifically made for horses.
Yeah, that's right.
Like a ball that horses play with or something.
Oh.
You just like saran wrapped that and then dressed it and made it in an egg sack.
Yes, we went back and reshot some of those to add more to
to your point of the birth being a tricky scene. We ended up having to shoot not the whole birth again, but like parts of
bits
it.
And pieces of it. Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, kind of going practical effects, how much, let's call it slime, if you will, Frogman essence, do you think you guys had on set?
I like Frogman essence.
A lot of Frogman essence. I had slime, Hugh had slime, Ryan and Becky had slime. I think everyone, Jason had slime, like everyone had slime. Yeah. Frogman essence.
Because we did a lot of over the 3.5 years of seeing this movie to completion. There was a lot of pickup days, and I think before every pickup day, there was a text message from me to everyone of like, who's got the slime? Because it ended up in somebody's car at the end of the last shoot.
And like, didn't we have different colors? There's different kinds of slime.
We had yellow slime, just regular KY jelly, green slime, and then one time we didn't have any slime, and I went to Target and I grabbed marmalade and green jello, which maybe looked the best. It was also the messiest, but not professionally approved, but we did what we had to do.
Now, we talked about Frogman will return. You talked about Frogman 2. I know we talked about it because we're on the same Discord servers as well, Anthony, that we're talking about stuff like that. I mean, when can we expect Frogman to return?
Well, when we put that at the end, it was just kind of like we were huge Marvel fans that were getting like kind of annoyed over the fact that like, just every movie ends with like somebody will return. It's like, I don't even know who that is, and they're returning. I don't care.
So it was a little tongue in cheek.
Yeah, like we didn't really know if we were going to deliver on that. I don't think we had any ideas at the time, but we are together tonight to watch Troll Hunter as preparation for writing Frogman 2 this week. And when you'll see it, stay tuned. But we're working on it.
That's cool. Like I said, I'm excited because, like I said, I can't express enough that people need to go watch this movie because the way you shot it, with found footage, I've watched a lot of found footage, and just holds up with your camera that you're using too. Saying it's the camera from 1999. I had a camera like that. I used to be a backyard wrestler. I was young and stupid, so we did stuff like that.
What was your ring name?
It's actually Graveyard.
Oh,
yes, okay.
That's where my online persona came from. Was way back then.
That's awesome. Have you heard of Flesh Games?
Yes, I think so.
It's a new found footage horror movie called Flesh Games. It's like, what if like the CKY movies or Jackass like turned into a horror movie? Pretty fucking cool. Watch out for that.
Awesome. Like I said, I can't stress enough that everyone needs to go pick up this movie from you and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Kind of last question before we get into roundup here, because time flew by. I don't know about for you guys. Like I said, Anthony, I met you at Days of the Dead. Was that your first con you've been to?
That was
with Frogman.
My first horror con, yeah. I mean, we did Frogman Festival before that, but yeah, that was the first horror con.
Now, how's the reception been with Frogman and bringing it to places like that? There's more plans to go to more cons with it.
Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, it's a really surreal experience. I mean, seriously, to go from a place of like, we finished this movie and we're like, God, do we have to bury our heads in the sand? Like, I don't know if anyone's gonna care or think it's good or whatever. To like the fact that at Days of the Dead, people were coming up to the table like, oh shit, I watched Frogman, like that was so awesome, and like wanted to buy a shirt and a Blu-ray even though they had already seen it. I was like what is that? It's really surreal. So I would love to go to more cons for sure.
That's awesome. Like I said, we're part of found footage groups and stuff like that. And my experience in the community has been, I've been part of this now for 9-ish months. And, I think the love of found footage and indie horror is just ramping up. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, it really feels like we're in kind of a renaissance of like low budget indie found footage with like Outwaters, Tahoe Joe, Horror in the High Desert, Children in the Woods, like people that grew up on Blair Witch are out there like with this like creative energy to just explode onto their high cameras, and it's like it's so beautiful.
Oh yeah. Last week we had the writer and director J.R. Bookwalter on, who did The Dead Next Door, which was funded by Bruce and Sam Raimi.
Nice.
Evil Dead 2. And he's talking about stuff from 1985, 1986, and here we are in 2024, and we're having the same exact conversations with movies that 40 years of it, just astounding to me.
It's very cool, and especially part of it.
So yeah, I'm excited. Wish you guys all the best of luck. But let's get into our roundup questions here. Ready? Difficult questions. Practical or CGI?
Practical.
No one said CGI yet in 29 shows.
They do boot them. Give them boot.
If either one of you were able to work in any IP or franchise, what would it be? If someone goes, here's $10 million to make a movie in X franchise, what would it be?
Well, I love to remake Time Cop, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. I think that's
nice.
The premise that in the movie's okay, but you could get a lot more out of it. It would also be great to do a Friday the 13th movie, since this was a huge. He's my favorite slasher growing up.
Yeah. It's been so long since we've had a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
That'd be so fun.
Yeah.
I think for me, it'd be of like the big IPs would be Hellraiser.
Ooh.
I mean, to really, I don't know. I just want to make something that really brings it back to how fucking dirty that first one made me feel. And there's so little of the Cenobites in that first one, and it's just the nastiest. And like, I mean, arguably one of the best horror movies ever, I think. Also, it's making me really jealous seeing all these people getting Evil Dead movies.
I know, yeah. What you got to do to get an Evil Dead movie here?
I'm right there talking to Bruce, and saying maybe we'll get something going.
Okay. Let them know we're ready.
For sure. Any advice for anyone getting into the field of filmmaking, writing, and stuff like that?
It's stick with it. Like, we've been doing this. We met in 2009, and here we are in 2024, and this movie, just came out, and it's been a long journey, lots of ups, lots of downs. We both still at it. And so I think there's going to be lots of times where maybe you want to quit or it seems like it's not worth it. But I think it is ultimately.
Yeah. Lots of conversations over the years over like, what the hell are we doing with our lives? Somebody is waking up thinking, what have I done? Like, is it too late to go back to school for something else? But like, that's just part of the journey. You're gonna wake up with those days. If you're not financially covered in some other way, like you're gonna wake up with those days, and like that's just part of it. Like if you keep like getting through those days without getting up, you're on the right track. And we're not the smartest guys, and we're not the most talented guys. And I think the only reason we're still here and we're having we're still going is like we're just making what we would want to see.
Yeah,
like we're not movies. Yeah, we just love movies, and we're not looking at what's trending or like what's the new hot template to follow for a poster. We're just like making what we think would be cool. And apparently there's other people out there that maybe think that's also kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just make what you want to see, honestly.
Awesome. You guys ready for your trivia questions then?
Yes.
Let's go.
All right, you can pick who answers this, whatever one. Okay, so what number appears frequently in the movie Us?
Oh shit. Probably the number 2. I don't know.
Oh. Fuck. I'm gonna say 11. I think that's wrong though.
No, 11's correct.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. There you go. All right, and here's the other one. This horror icon is most notably known for his role as Captain Spaulding in Rob Zombie films. Who's the actor?
Sid Haig.
Yes. See, easy, right?
We nailed him. Keep our horror credentials.
All right. So before we sign off, where can people find you, follow you, and pick up Frogman?
I'm at cousins_Anthony on Instagram, and there's also Frogman Movie on Instagram, and follow either of those for an announcement on Blu-rays soon. We're doing another release of it that will actually be available online without having to DM me.
And it's available to rent on or buy on Amazon, Apple, Google Play, YouTube. So any place that you rent movies or buy movies from. Fandango Movie is at home, also known as Vudu. It's available on all those streaming platforms.
Awesome. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been a blast. Hope you had a good time. So once again, I'd like to thank Anthony and John for coming on to our show. Like I said, pick up Frogman any way you can. I highly suggest it. And hopefully we'll be able to stream tonight on the Found Footage Discord server with this hopefully soon.
Sweet.
That would be awesome.
So thank you. I've been Graveyard, and make sure to follow us everything that we do at Pod Out at Night on all social media except TikTok, because I'm an old guy. I don't do TikTok. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share out, because the more subscribers we have, the more horror swag we will be giving away in the future. So until then, don't get lost in the void. Have a good night. Hey.